Hello everyone and welcome back to the Perfect French with Dylan. Today we are finally starting chapter 2 of the conjugation course. It's all going to be about the past tenses. But first we have to focus on the passé composé. Passé composé is going to be a big subject and I decided to divide it in a lot of videos because I think it actually takes time to understand the passé composé. So I believe that if we see one characteristic a day, well, it's going to be easier. I hope I'm right. We'll see. On the book, it's page 104 to 106. Or should I say 104 to 106? I'm not too sure. So today we are going to see how to build the passé composé. But first, let's see what is the passé composé. So this tense is a bit hard to understand, it's a bit hard to use because it doesn't translate to one tense. Not like the imparfait that we are going to see later. This one actually translates to 3 tenses in English. The present perfect, so if we look at the verb manger, that will be I have eaten. The simple past, I ate, and the third one, I did eat. So for us, all of them can translate to the passé composé. J'ai mangé. We are going to see all the characteristics of the passé composé first, then we are going to see when to use it. Because if I show you now when and how to use it, I'm going to obviously use the passé composé in sentences, and you might get confused to what is actually how it's built, etc. So we are starting with all the characteristics, and then we are going to see when and how to use it. So let's go back to how to build the passé composé. The passé composé is always made of 2 parts. We have the verb avoir, to have, or the verb être, to be, plus the past participle of the verb. So avoir and être are always going to be conjugated in present tense. Let's review very quickly the conjugation. We have, for avoir, j'ai, tu as, il, elle, on, n'a, nous avons, vous avez, ils ont, elles ont. And for être, je suis, tu es, il, elle, on est, nous sommes, vous êtes, ils sont, elles sont. So they are very common verbs in French and they are also auxiliaries. So when they are used with the passé composé, they are auxiliaries. Now let's see everything about the past participle, le participe passé in French. So do you remember the 3 groups of verbs that we saw? We saw the verbs ending in er, ir, and re. So verbs ending in er, we are simply going to remove the er and add e accent aigu. So if you look at chanter, we have chanter. The pronunciation doesn't change, only the spelling. If we look at finir, for the second group, we are going to keep fini. So we just remove the r, fini. And for the last group, we are going to have attendre, turning into attendu. Attendu. So we remove the re and we just add a u. If we see the verbs ending in er, the one with spelling changes. We spend a lot of time seeing them at the beginning of the course, so I'm not going to review all of them, but let's see a few. And also you have the full list in the book. So if we look at the verb ending in cer, we have annoncer, annoncer. It stays the same. For the one with double letters, appeler stays appeler, doesn't change either. Then we have amener, becomes amener as well. Even the most irregular verb ending in er, which is aller, stay, aller. So this part is not too hard because as you can see, we keep the infinitive of the verb, we just remove the er to add e. That part is very easy. But unfortunately, we have a lot of irregular ones. Let's see a few. We have avoir, avoir becomes u, e-u, u. Conduire becomes conduit, conduit. Conduire, conduit. Être becomes été. Ouvrir becomes ouvert. Pleuvoir becomes plu. And venir becomes venu. Like I said before, you should really study them together. For example, if you look at venir and tenir. So I told you that with them the only thing that changes is the first letter. Venir, tenir. So we have venu, tenu. Venu, tenu. But we can even take an extra step and look at appartenir and survenir. It's exactly the same. Appartenu, survenu. So always study them by group, it's going to be way easier like this. We also saw ouvrir and offrir before, and I already told you that they were the same because we have ouvert and offert. So those one are very similar. So an important thing about past participle is that you really have to remember the spelling, especially the spelling of the end, because sometimes the past participle is going to become feminine. Then we will add a and it will change the pronunciation. Let's see, for example, conduire. Conduire becomes conduit. But if it's a feminine one, we are going to have conduite, conduite. So here we don't pronounce the e, but we are going to pronounce the t. So it's very important to know what is the last letter of the past participle, because it can change the pronunciation of the word when the past participle is feminine. Same thing for ouvrir. Ouvrir, we have ouvert, and then we have ouverte. Okay? If we look at a new one, prendre, the past participle is pris, pris, is. So if we add a, it's going to be prise, prises. You see how the pronunciation changes? And of course, when we add with a voyelle and we add a, the pronunciation does not change. If you look at venir, for example, venir, so it's venu, it's only a u if it's a masculine, or if it becomes feminine, it's going to be venu, venu, doesn't change. We are going to see all about the feminine, masculine, etc. in the next few lessons, so don't worry too much about it. But when you study, make sure to study the spelling, because it will change the pronunciation. So for this lesson, you can do the exercise 2.1. Tomorrow we are going to see the passé composé with avoir, to have. So I will see you tomorrow. À demain.